Welcome back to 30 Something and Verging. I want to first address this beautiful piece of artwork that my production manager created. If you would look directly to the back, you see AkilahMiles.com and 30 Something and Verging. I now have a step and repeat. Y'all, my little studio, in-house studio, it's coming together. My desk just shipped out today. I'm super excited. So welcome back. Thank you all for joining me again. I'm excited to be here with you all tonight. You know who I am. I'm your favorite new female podcaster, Akilah Miles. And tonight we're going to be talking about a topic that another guest that was on here previously, she texted me and she was like, hey, I want to come back on. And I'm like, sure. And when you fill out the portion to come on to the show, I asked you, do you have any specific topics that you would like to talk about? Anything that you're on the verge of or that you're dealing with? And she wants to talk about how her success has scared men away. So our topic tonight is, why do men fear powerful women? When she said that, it was so hilarious to me, but also it resonated with me as well, because I've heard people talk about different things and people have said certain things to me. About like different things, me being successful in certain parts or me being an alpha female. And I can honestly say I'm only an alpha female in certain situations. When it comes to like relationships and different things like that, I like to be, if the vibration of you is that you are a leader and you can lead me significantly and impactfully, then I follow. But if it is like this wayward thing where you're confused and all this other stuff, then my boundaries and my guards are up and my boundaries are set. And I'm like, oh no, Playboy, he playing around. So I'm going to still be me. I'm going to handle my business. And also just part of who I am as a woman. I grew up around nothing but strong, independent women in my family. We had a lot of strong, independent male figures as well. But like my sister and my mom were those people that were in close proximity to me. So what I saw was a woman hustling and being no holds barred and didn't care what you thought, how you felt about who she was, where she was, or what she was doing, as long as she was providing for herself and living a life that she wanted. So I live really big on that. I was really, really big on that as I was growing and developing as a young woman, especially in undergraduate. Like just thinking and considering who I was and what I was. And power is a tricky thing because some people, power can like blow your mind, right? For me, it's not like a big thing. So y'all know I have a production manager here, and I'm going to say this and then I'm going to call my guest for tonight. And I have two guests for tonight, but so like I'm just going to use us as an example. I always use myself and family as an example. So with my production manager, I feel like as a manager, he manages me. While Akilah Miles is my brand, AkilahMiles.com is my brand. 30 something and Verging is my baby. He helps to manage that. So I feel like we both have power over these things. We have controlling respects in these things. Do we run things past each other? Of course. When I'm asking, can X, Y, and Z be done? Yes. And a lot of people get on like those power trips, I feel. And I think that's what she was affected by. I think that area was affected by like a person realized that, hey, she doesn't necessarily need you. And what I've learned from, and I don't think it's all men, and this is not any shade to a man, but what I have learned is that sometimes if they don't feel needed, it robs them. It sort of injures their ego, for lack of a better words. It doesn't allow them to be because men are natural born leaders. They are meant to be that. And if they don't have that opportunity to do that, that then sort of like knocks them down. So they have to be and deal with someone and be in the vicinity of someone that lets them lead, that lets them be that provider, right? But the only thing that I think they miss out on is that when you have a helpmate, when you're dealing with a woman, she's supposed to be your help. She's your rib for a reason. She's your support for a reason, right? Because your rib protects everything, right? So a woman is supposed to be a protector and a nurturer, right? So like if you understand how the body is made and what she was pulled from, you understand her position, right? You have to be able to understand it. And that's what I think Ariel wants to talk about tonight. And I'm also going to call one of my favorite men in the world. Hopefully he answers, because he did tell me we started a little late. And he did tell me that he was going to be on, but he was also out handling some business. It is my older brother, Carlos Manuel Miles. Yes. So I'm going to call him too. And we're just going to talk about it. Like, what is the fear? So let's dial up Ariel. And this is Ariel from Sweet Treats. She's joining us tonight as well from Memphis, Tennessee. Please check her out. Her treats are extremely delicious and they're made with love. As she says it, they're crack. Let's see.
Hello.
Hi, Ariel.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So I just spent the last few minutes just setting the Verges up. Like the Verges are ready to hear about our topic. I told them that when you talked about coming back on the show, you gave me a topic of why are men afraid of powerful women. And I gave them a little bit of perspective as far as like thinking about how sometimes because men are natural born leaders, how they are supposed to lead, and sometimes when they feel like they've lost that power, then they can't be with that woman. And also like talking about power. So I wanted to hear like what was your specific issue or your specific not issue, but your specific situation where you experienced a man who could not accept who you were, like the power that you brought to the table.
Well, I had some people tell me, well, you're too busy, or you're doing that all the time, or when you're going to have time for me. Like, I didn't have nobody to support me. It was just, oh, you're doing that all the time? And I'm like, okay, are you going to support me? Like, do you want to come over and watch me do it, help me do it? You know, stuff like that.
So was this, so you've been in business for what, this is going into your 4th year, right?
It'll be 4 years. Not in July the 26th, but July the 20th.
Okay.
I just seen it today.
Okay. So this is my question. When you experienced that, was that in the first year? Like, did that happen in your first year? Or is this something that you experienced in the first year and it continues to happen as you date?
It was like around my first and second year. My third year, going to my third year, I actually did have somebody that really supported me. And we're just now getting back on good terms. He's like one of the biggest supporters I ever had for it. Like I never thought I'd have somebody so supportive. He was the first person to buy my first 1,000 of business cards, and he actually like went out and purchased those himself. And he was like, "That's my gift to you to support you."
Awesome.
And he always would buy like stuff from me, because I catch myself sometimes looking through my cash app. And I kind of see like, okay, wow, like I look through my cash app and I really think he spent over $500 worth of stuff for Sweet Treats, like treats from me, and that shocked me. I'm like, he spent $500 worth of treats.
So let's go back to when you first had this encounter, when you first started your business and you were dating someone, and he was just like, so what was his biggest issue? Was his issue that you never had time for him because you were working a full-time job and doing the treats, or was it just that he just didn't understand the business?
He didn't understand the business, and I was too busy. He didn't get why it was so important to me. Some women should just sit around and just be housewives and just come home and they do all the work, and they should just be, sit down and be quiet. Some men are not used to women be like, okay, I don't need your money, or say for instance, we go on a date and we're at a nice restaurant and the bill comes. Some females automatically think the man is supposed to pay the bill. To me, that's gold. You can
Not
say
necessarily.
you.
Not necessarily now. Not necessarily, because I dated somebody,
Yeah,
and
not
when we would
necessarily.
go out, he didn't want me to pay.
Yeah, it can be like half and half. You know, okay. Have you ever had people in your life like, okay, let me say it like this because I may say it wrong.
Mm-mm,
Let me say it like,
no. I was just you. No. You feel how you feel. I was just saying, like, not necessarily. I don't think that way. But I'm not. I am not negating what you're saying. You're not incorrect in your thought. No, ma'am.
I can say it like this. Okay, say for instance, a woman, you have, okay, I can say this. I had a friend before, and she always thought that a man is supposed to pay for everything. Because I talked to her one time before. I was at work, and she called me. And she was like, okay, so you know, Ariel, such and such. I'm so mad that my boyfriend went and bought the iPhone before he bought mine. And I'm like, okay, such and such. Don't you have your money? Can't you go get your own phone? She was like, no, he's supposed to buy my phone first. It's like if he buy a car first, and he should buy me a car first, then he should buy his own car. And I'm like, no. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
Okay.
some people think a man is supposed to do everything.
Yeah. So I wasn't. For me, I wasn't raised that way, but I have been on dates or dated people where I've had certain dreams and I've told them about certain things. And I don't think that it wasn't that they weren't supportive. I think that they didn't know how to support me.
Yeah.
Besides giving me like a kudos, like a good job, I'm proud of you, or like that's what's up, like yeah, that that'd be dope if you do that. And I don't think that they understood what support meant, especially for an independent woman. I think it was frightening for some guys that I've dated, to see like my tenacity and my grit as far as like when it comes to me hustling to get the things that I wanted. So I totally get what you're saying. And I've had friends that feel like, oh, my dude's supposed to buy everything. And I'm like, nah, like I feel like in a relationship, it should be about like us coming together to elevate each other. Meaning if he had a business, so if I had dated somebody fresh out of college and he was like, oh, well, I want to go to trade school and I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. And if he had been like, I'm just going to focus on school, I may work a job here and there at night. I was fresh out of college. I had a decent paying job. I was making good money. So if he was my man and he was really pushing toward that, I would have been like, yeah, go ahead, do what you got to do, go to school, because we are a team, right? If we had a solidified, solid relationship, we are a team. Do you think that in that first relationship that your partner or better half, if you will, do you think that he knew how to support you? Like he understood the level of support that you needed?
Yeah, I can say that too. I can say maybe he didn't know how to support me. Yeah, I can say that as well. But sometimes I think like it's not that hard. I guess some people, it depends on how you feel about your woman being a boss. Like maybe you just like too intimidated and you don't want to make it seem like, oh, I'm not doing these things right now. So I can say that for sure. I think he really lacked that support in our relationship.
Yeah. And I think that like, so before you got on, I was talking about like, I don't want y'all to think like this is, because this is totally not, this is a show where if I want to praise God, I'll jump up and praise God. That's what I'll do. So I don't want you to think that this is what I'm doing, but you're going to hear me talk about God a lot because I trust him. He's done so much for me. And I like think, hey, you're going to hear me like talk about him. And if you think about like in the Bible, before you got on, I said, God created woman from the man's rib. And if we think about where we come from, like he literally pulled us out of the man's body, out of his rib. The rib is what protects all of your organs. We are supposed to be nurturers and protectors. A woman. That's why she is your helpmate. I think, and you tell me what you think, Ariel, I think that sometimes men forget that that's the power that was bestowed upon us when we were pulled from them. like when we were initially created. And I think that because of that, like because they don't recognize that, I think that causes a big problem. Do you think that it would be good, like if women and men sat down and said, like, hey, these are my goals, these are my dreams, where do you see yourself?
Yes, that's most definitely important in any relationship. That's the first thing I ask anybody when I first start going with them. Like I don't ask them. Don't some girls be like, "What's your age? What's your sign?" Stuff like that. No, the first like the dude be like, "Hey, what's your name? Okay, what's your goal? Like what do you want to do in life? Like I want to know, are we wasting time? Like I
Mm.
need to make sure we're both on the same mindset.
Because it's cool to
Like we
date
have
like that, like to date unknowingly when you're young, right? But when you're older,
to,
you need that foundation. Like, so, like, do you plan on buying a
yes,
house? You know, are you fixing your
yeah, like
credit? You want to
are
stay
we
with your mama
gonna get
forever?
healthy and are we gonna get married? You know, stuff like that. Like I'm not in here to play house with you. I'm not in here to get an apartment and when we leave and when we break up, I basically just, get out. I'm not doing it. I'm not around here to stay. I'm here to be a wife, so it's on you.
Yeah. I feel like based off of like where, because I know you grew up in a two-parent home. I
Mm.
had like a two-parent per se. He wasn't my daddy. He was my sister and them daddy. But my mom, pretty much, he didn't discipline me or anything like that. My mom did all of that. And
Mhm.
I think from seeing her, not just from seeing her, but just from like seeing other relationships around, I I never understood exactly what it meant to love on someone
Mhm.
when they needed it, but I knew what support was. I knew that support meant that I had your back. I knew unconditional love, but I didn't understand all of the facets of what it takes, because what I realized at my tender age of 30 something is that is that love happens in layers. Right. Love isn't just like this straight line. Love is a very
Mhm.
layered and textured thing. Textured construct, if you will, that encapsulates all of these particular feelings and emotions. And support is a big one. Support is like one boundary that I think we all need to like set up and think about, like how we want to be supported and how we support others. So, what do you think made this last relationship successful, as far as like his support and the way that you all interacted with each other and how he has been helpful in your business?
Um, um, I could say it made it successful because we still have like a good, friendship. With even though we're not together anymore, we still like communicate. But like he still buy tricks from me now, still to this day, regardless of we can barely stand each other. But like that's why I feel like it's successful because I noticed that regardless of the things that he was doing outside of the support, like he's still very very supportive, like in the relationship with Sweet Treat, because he was the first one to buy my business card, and like he's like I want to pay for those. They like I got you. Like he's the one like telling people about me, and he does not like eat nobody's banana pudding but mine. Like not even his own mom.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay then, sweet
so
treats.
right. So it made it very successful because he brought a lot of light to it. And it most definitely was a business when I got my card and my label. I'm like, okay, it's serious now.
Okay.
So that's how I say it was successful.
Okay. Yeah, I think like when all of this stuff started happening for me, like when different things
Mhm.
started going really well, my friends would ask. I was like, I'm like really really happy, but I think like it would be, not that it would be anything extra, but I was like, man, I wish I had like somebody at home to celebrate this with, because I was celebrating
Mhm.
goals with my friends, with my production manager. Like we just, people might call us crazy, but we just got through celebrating the fact that we just put up this step and repeat. being excited about that, excited that different stuff is coming. So I think that it's important to recognize the support that we have. I'm thankful because, like, for you, for instance, you were like, I love to be on a podcast again. And I was like, that's so great. Like, a person is willing to be on a podcast and it wants to be on there because they see how they can be a vital entity in AkilahMiles.com and in 30 something and verging, and also how that can in turn help support and grow Ariel's business. So I think that's pretty dope. And I also want to ask just a quick question about, what do you think, in your next relationship, what do you think will be like, I know on your first date you won't be like, hey, I sell Ariel treats and you got to be supportive. What do you think will be like foundational ground rules that you'll just have in your head that you'll talk out with him once you all get past the 3-month mark and you like, hey, like this relationship is solidified, we're going to go somewhere, this is what I need? How are you going to ensure that you get the support that you need and that you also in turn give off the support that he needs?
For one, I'm very observing. I can feel energy. So if the energy is not good, even with them 3 months, I'm just not going to talk to the person. But if the energy is good, and I can see that, because for one, if somebody be with me just for a week, they're going to notice I do treats. So they're going to be like, okay, what you doing? And I'm going to be doing something. I'm like, hey, I'm doing jars. They're like, oh, you got a business? I'm like, yeah. So I explain it to them, but like those ground rules are going to be, okay, are you going to be upset if I can't go out, this weekend or that weekend or this night because I have orders? Or are you going to be supportive and like, okay, I will go with you to do your pickup? Like, I need to know stuff like that. Like, do you want to come over while I make jars, or do you want to like make a jar together, or do you want to like make a piece of cobbler or cake or something together just to spend time with each other? Like, are you going to tell people, just ask them certain questions or see where their energy is and like where their head is with them sweet treats. Because if I know for a fact if you don't buy from me or if you don't ask me how my day going and what orders do you have today, asking certain questions about it, I know you just don't care. You just don't really care about my future. So I can tell how people are when I even first talk to them. Like, just one day. I already know. So those are going to be my rules.
Okay.
And so my next relationship. So I need to know, are you going to be supportive or you're not?
Like, will you be there?
Yeah, like, will you be at least there? If you want to come over, if you just want to come to my house and watch me do but then I'll be the happiest person ever. Like, it's really that easy. Like, I see that you just care just a little bit